band from the beginning started back in August 2010.
I was in a band towards the end of 2009 that I really wasn't happy with, so I left. And I was on Absolute Punk, and I was looking for people who needed bass players. And Steve was in a band with some other guys, and I tried out for that, and it didn't work out. So I actually ran into Steve at Warped Tour that summer, and we started talking again. Then at the end of August, I actually messaged him on AIM, and we had talked about starting something up.
It was what? I think it was 2009. I hit Steve up on MySpace, said, hey, your solo project is really, really good. I'd love to be a part of it. I'd love to come out and be out. You know, I live in Jersey. I have no problem driving over to your house.
I brought my friend Matt Pinella into the band, and he brought his friend Dave Fink into the band, and that's actually how First Things First started.
And I had met Dave via Craigslist, and I had met Steve via Absolute Punk, and Steve had met Matt via MySpace. So actually, we all met via the internet.
Our first practice, I rolled up to the practice spot with Matt Pinella. We walked into which is our practice spot now, and there's nothing in it, you know, just like a drum set. I set my amp up on the floor.
The first time they started practicing here, I thought, oh my God, what am I in for? It's going to be a bunch of loud racket, noise, sex, drugs, rock and roll. You know, like when you get a kid a drum set when he's 2 years old, he starts beating on it, makes no fucking rhyme or reason sense, and it's just...
The first practice, you know, we started writing our very first song, and I honestly knew from that point on, and I'm sure he could say the same thing, that this is what we wanted to do. We put everything we had to the band from that point on. When we started First Things First, we were looking for producers, and I remember he emailed me on MySpace, so we looked back and we hit him up, and it sounded good to us, so we
flew down to Florida.
Who doesn't want to go to Florida? It was a great time. We got to meet a bunch of great people. You know, especially we met Charlie.
They stayed over at my house like the first night or two. Being in the studio with them was kind of crazy. It was good to see that they took their songs and refined them down.
All those four that was written in the bedroom we stayed in on an electric guitar that we didn't have an amp for, and a snare drum. Repeat, we had the first chorus, first verse for the pre-chorus.
That's it.
That's all we had, but Brooks kind of took us under his wing, and he helped us out a lot.
When I really thought that they were taking it seriously, and this was going to be more than just a hobby, was when they actually booked and went down to Florida to a fella to record their CD. When I heard the CD when it came back and was released out, I was so impressed. I knew that this was going to be his livelihood. He can make a living off of this.
I think Brooks definitely had a lot to do with their first album. He kind of took their songs and added to it and suggested things, and he definitely put his own spin on their songs. And I think it worked out for the good.
After we were done recording with Brooks, we flew home, put the album about a month later, had very good responses from all over the world, and I've been playing shows ever since.
Dave Fink and Pinella left, and we picked up this kid Christian from Pittsburgh, and then he left, and then we picked up Vinny. Then we picked up Vinny, who was the new guitarist. We were a three-piece for a while, many times. And then he brought Googs into the picture, so then we picked up Googs.
And Vinny and I were in a band together called Broken Down Sunset, and First Things First, bass player Christian had just recently moved back to Pittsburgh. So Vinny told me, he was like, dude, you gotta come try out. And I tried it out, and a couple days later I was in a van going to Florida. I was in Betsy.
We were looking for a band, and we shopped all over. You really wanted like this old, like Scooby-Doo looking Volkswagen kind of van.
I think it was awesome.
But
Awesome.
you know, I kind of wanted something newer, and we finally found this van that was like, it was for like $1,500. It was up in Long Island, New York. So we figured we could check it out. So we got into his Mustang, top down, and we drove to Long Island, New York. We got there at like 7 in the morning, we went out with this guy. And then we were leaving. I was driving the van and he was driving his Mustang. The van was like dying out. I was so scared. I pulled over in the middle of the road. I said, York, you gotta drive the van. I said, I can't do this. And I think that's where he got his first like instant connection, you know. I think that's why he has like very bonded with Betsy now, because he had to drive all the way home when she was like bogging out, like dying and shit. I'm calling him because he got lost. He's driving through the Holland Tunnel, jamming the
I had $20
Empire State of Mind, like rocking out. I'm on the phone. Where you at? He's like, in New York, like singing. He's like, yeah, man, I got my feet on the dash and just driving. I was like, all right, see. So I mean, that kind of does take it back to where he bonded with Betsy for the first time. Then Vinny left, and then this kid John Pano joined the band, and he was playing guitar for a while. And then John Pano left, and then Taylor Koch joined the band.
First original band I ever played in was with Steve Schriner. You know, we jammed for a couple years together, and then we kind of parted our ways for other differences. And I started another band with a few other friends, and recently we just broke up. Steve and I always talked about playing again in the same band, and right at 2013 gave me a call, asked me to do a short run in February up the Northeast, and between the time that we were practicing and the time that we left on the road, I decided to join the band.
The first time I met Steve Schriner, I thought he was a long-haired hippie type guy. He should live on the beach somewhere in California in sandals, doing bong hits and drinking beer.
Steve Schriner is AKA MacGyver, AKA Schriner Beats, AKA Mr. I Have No Immune System, AKA probably one of the most genuinely sweet kids I've ever met. He oozes out music every day, all day, and it's awesome, and I envy that. His ability to just sit down and record something and have pretty much a kick-ass song in hours, it's mind-blowing.
I mean, Steve is obviously one of my best friends. He's our primary songwriter. He writes lyrics. I mean, he is the whole musical aspect of First Things. He's a really good dude, someone that you want to have around you at all time possible.
My man Steve Schriner, yo, let me tell you, back in the day, me and this kid, best friends from the start. Man, everything music. Countless days, endless nights in his room, this room right here, writing songs, writing lyrics, harmonies, melodies, anything you can think of, drum parts. Oh my God, countless recording sessions, dude. It was awesome. Best time of my life. I will never forget it. Best friends since elementary school. We kind of had our falling outs, but dude, that friendship doesn't die. You know what I'm saying? And we got hooked up again. You know, we reconnected as friends, and he now has my brother in his band, and it's an awesome thing that he picked up Taylor. But dude, the kid is awesome. He's so passionate, the most passionate guy I know about music. You know, it brings a smile to my face because he's doing what he loves to do.
You know, Steve's definitely been there for me a lot throughout my life. Personal issues, family issues, girl issues. One of the easiest people that you can talk to. He's a little goofy like I am, but I think that's what makes our friendship a lot better. Growing up, he was one of my brother's best friends, so he's been around since I was maybe 12. He's got a good knack for writing music, and that kid has a lot of strive. Probably the most I've ever seen for a certain person in a band. He's always doing something with music. He's always trying to, you know, help the band out some way, somehow. He definitely has his priorities straight.
Steve York is like the triple threat. He plays drums, he takes care of like the booking and business end, and then he's also like our tour manager driver. Like without York, we'd probably be like rolled over in Betsy, like on a ditch somewhere down 95 at this point. He's gotten us through a lot of long nights where we couldn't stop. And it's all because he's as dedicated and determined and as focused as the rest of us, but he just has that extra bit of crazy in him to where he can drive for fucking ever and stay awake forever. And, you know, if you ever get in like a conversation with York about like mid-90s basketball players or like 80s basketball players, like it's turns into a very long drawn out conversation about like Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and him saying funny basketball players' names like Hakeem Olajuwon. Like that's how he'll say it. York is really cool. Without Steve York, this band doesn't work. We are extra lucky to have someone of his caliber, for sure.
When I first joined the band, I thought that was going to be like the hardest relationship. I've never really said too much before to him, and I even filled in with those guys last year for a show or two, and it's definitely different now than it was then. You know, I see a lot more of what he does. You know, booking, being a manager, driving. Oh God, that kid! I guarantee you, there's nobody else that can drive as much as he can. He's the only person that's driving the van when we're on the road, no matter what. Even if we're parking, you know, the kid drives a lot, man. He's always got a good attitude. He's always making me laugh. And I guess when I first joined the band, I didn't realize how much he did as far as like behind the scenes. You're a good person.
The first time we met Steve York, we were looking for a bass player for my old band, Our Best. One of my friends, Ben, hit up Steve York. He found him on Absolute Punk. This kid, Steve York, responded to the post, and Ben contacted him, and this kid, Steve, came over to my house. We were looking out the window. We were practicing something in my living room. I remember this just like it was yesterday. We see this goofy kid get out of this neon with all these stickers on it, and we just like, what are we getting ourselves into right now? We had no idea.
This kid with long hair and stickers on the back of his car, we don't know who the hell he was, showed up. Steve was like, I can't go outside. And we're like, all right. So me and Brian went outside and met this kid, and lo and behold, it was Steve York. He's like, yo, I came to play bass.
And this kid walks into my house, and we're just like, But we're already like, you know, we don't want this kid in our band. He's goofy looking, but we were nice, you know. My mom made like, I think it was roast beef. Yeah, it was roast beef and mashed potatoes. So, you know, I let him stay for dinner, and after that, you know, I kind of stayed in touch with him. But, you know, it wasn't until the point when I was looking to actually start a band, when everything went downhill with the other band, that I was like, you know, Steve York, what's up, dude? You know, what are you doing? You're trying to start a band. So I had my friend Matt, and he brought his friend, like I said, Dave. And, you know, that's how first things first started. But, you know, me and Steve York, to this day, are, you know, we're really good friends. You know, we hang out all the time. We're like family. So first impressions aren't always everything.
I'm proud of him. He's doing what he wants to do. He's happy with it. I support them any way I can. I let them practice when they want. I try to go out and support them at shows when they're in the area, whatever I can. I mean, I've supported him so much that he embarrasses. I used to wear a First Things First t-shirt to the shows until I needed to grow up. I'm not a 19-year-old girl. It's funny because I've seen his articles in AP Magazine. I've seen them on MTV. I've seen the little groupies that follow him around, and I'm thinking to myself, my head still can't wrap around it. You know, I think it's great, but I still like this little kid. I used to have to fight with him to take the trash out and make his bed, and I used to change his diapers. So it still hasn't sunk in yet. But I'm proud of him. He's doing what he wants to do. He's happy with it, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I'm actually a little groupie now, you know?
So why does everything I use keep jeans on fire?
Let me get in this.
Taylor's just an all-around loving kid. I mean, he loves what he does. He's passionate about it. He is an awesome guitar player. Ever since we were little, we've had such a big influence with music. He's a good guy, and he's handsome too. He's still playing music, he's going on tour, like what more can you ask for? 21 years old, like just out on the road. I mean, we never got that far, so he's doing, you know, he's just taking it to the next level. I'm happy for him.
He's fun, he's not sad all the time, he's a good person to have around, he's good at guitar. He's just an overall just good, fun, happy guy.
Taylor has impacted the band in so many great ways and so many negative ways. He tweets too much. That's really my only complaint with Taylor, is that he tweets too much. Every time I go on Twitter, it's a whole paragraph, but in single line tweets. So it's like my entire page. It's just Taylor Koch, like smoking cigs, Guitar Center, 100. Retweet of his dad. Like, something tweeted at his brother. Like, it's just, it's so absurd and it's so annoying, but it's like when you get a puppy. You know, it's just awesome, and he's fun, and he's a great guitar player, and he loves music. And he knows so much more about gear than all of us combined. Like, he's such an asset. He's so awesome. Really happy that he's joined the band and that like him and I are friends. Taylor Koch, you know, 2 thumbs up. He's fucking great.
I always look out for him, you know, he's always been one of my little brothers, and Taylor brings a lot to the band, you know, he definitely brings like that younger look to the band. He brings good energy.
Being my brother's #1 influence for music, I honestly didn't have no idea until you just told me that. I mean, my God, the kid is so, like, he's so focused on what he wants to do, and he would never tell me that, obviously, because he just, I don't know, he's so good at what he does, you know, and he's just real, like, again, he's real passionate. But for me being the biggest influence, I had no idea. That makes me feel really good, especially from when we were younger and like marching band and stuff like that. Like, you know, with the whole drumline thing, me and Taylor played drums, you know, growing up, and you know, he always, I guess he could look up to me in that way. But as far as like everything, that just, I don't know, it makes me feel good. I didn't even know that. I'm gonna go bust his balls when I go home and be like, yeah, nah.
Googs he's like an older brother figure to me. I mean, more in the past months than ever. He's definitely got a good heart, and he cares about me.
Googs is my co-pilot. Me and Googs spent a lot of time up front together. Googs is a very good bass player. He's also a really good songwriter too, which I've been finding out. But without him joining, I think me and Steve would have been kind of stuck. So I'm very, very happy.
Chris kind of grows on you like a good fungus, not a bad fungus, a good fungus, you know what I mean? He is the most laid-back, easygoing, mellow person I've ever met. He's always in a good mood, and he just strikes me as he's looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. I wish more people could be like him. You know, it's just, I got a good vibe from him the first time I met him. Real nice guy. Always asking what can he do for somebody else. Really like him, so he's a good kid.
First thing first.
Selfie Sunday! Selfie Sunday! Because tonight it's me, myself, and I lost it all, yeah, I threw it all away. Another drink to cure my pride. I take the wheel and close my eyes. There's a voice screaming loud. There's a voice screaming loud.
It's the moment where it became real, to where I knew if I wanted to do this, it was possible. Was, I guess, like sometime after March, like after like our weekend run with our friends at Bat and the Hatches and Random Holiday. The whole camaraderie of like being out on the road and playing and all that, like that's what really started me like seeing like, holy shit, like yeah, I could do this. And then after our summer tour, I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. It was always a dream, you know, ever since I picked up the bass to become a rock star or whatever.
I think when we first started,
The first practice.
we were like, we want to do this, and I don't want to be cocky or anything, but like we had a goal to do this and get as far as we are, and we want to go further, and we set out to do it. It's not like we never thought we would come here. It's not like we would think it would just last 4 or 5 months. We wanted to do it, and we sat down and did it.
I think there's multiple reasons why the band is where they're at now. I think one has to do with their music. It's a little different than most music you listen to. You can call it pop, you can call it rock, you can call it pop punk, whatever you want to call it, but you really can't pinpoint what it is.
I'm getting yelled at by the love of my life.
The last tour that I went on was the first tour that I've ever went on. Definitely an awesome experience. Met some really cool people, played with some good bands, and I realized that these guys have like friends, you know, well, I've only been up in the Northeast, but these guys have friends like almost in every state possible. There's, you know, a handful of people that came out to just hang out that I've seen them before. We definitely got, you know, a couple more people listening to the band. We sold some CDs, which was awesome. Got to take pictures and sign autographs, which, you know, 2 months ago I was just, you know, sitting at a music store like selling guitars and drum sets, and it's crazy that like I get out on the road and like these people that I've never met before want to, you know, buy my band's, you know, CDs, and they want my signature on it. It's just an awesome feeling. It was a great experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
Oh, do you guys remember the time in Maine?
That was also a really funny story. In Maine, we had the gas nozzle in the van.
Everyone was confused that it was getting light out at 4 o'clock. And I think it was screwing with everybody's brains because York pulled out of the gas station with the pump still hanging in the van. And you guys, I called you guys up and we were on 95. I'm like, where the hell did you guys go? You were right behind me a second ago. And somebody's like, yeah, York left the pump in the van and we pulled away. It's cool though. We figured it out.
But there just so happened to be 2 cops in the parking lot, but there was no trouble. Right? It was fun. It's all fun and games.
Where's the spiders?
Oh, the time that Vinny freaked out about the spider, their old guitar player. We were just driving, and we got a phone call, and I think it was York saying like, "Hey, we gotta pull over right here." We're like, "Well, why? We're on an exit." Like, we got it, and somebody was screaming in the background. We thought somebody was literally dying.
I'm driving, and Vinny's in the co-pilot, and there's these 2 spiders that come out the headliner, whatever you want to call it, and down the dash, and I see them, but as soon as I see them, they run back up inside. And I didn't think of anything of it, and I see him again. Every time I see him, they run back up. So I eventually said something to Vinny, and he freaked out. He jumped in the back of the van. I had to call the other band we were on tour with, tell them to stop.
And so we pulled over, and Vinny jumps out of the van, and he's screaming, and screaming about spiders or something. But I mean, I don't blame him. Vinny, much love, but that spider was freaking gigantic.
I don't know what happened to the spiders. I assume they're dead, but that was a fun, interesting 4 or 5 minutes.
I love America!
My favorite part about touring is probably the fans, you know. Before First Things First, I was a solo artist, so I met a lot of people all over the world and all over the country, etc. Now, actually being able to tour, you know, with First Things First, I'm actually finally meeting these people that I've been talking to for years. So, I mean, my favorite part about touring is probably meeting all the fans and meeting all my friends that I've met throughout the years. It's gonna sound weird, but the best time I had on tour was last year. We were on tour with a band called A Hero's Fate, and we drove by them in Michigan, and their van broke down. And the next day, we were taking our van to go get parts to fix their van, when our van wouldn't start and our van broke. So we had 2 broken vans in the middle of Michigan. But we were on this farm with like 100 and something horses, and it was like in the middle of nowhere. It was just like away from everything. It was just a lot of fun. We didn't have to worry about anything, you know. You're just having fun and living life.
Went out there by himself. Went out there by myself and started doing it. He just started shoveling by himself. Like, didn't even say anything. Just put his shoes on. I had to put my boots on first. Did you have boots or not? Fuck yeah, dude. Because the last time we went up there, it fucking snowed and I was in chucks and my feet were cold. What about it? The fact that I was digging us out and you were just fucking there with your camera? Yo, you gotta put your fucking camera away and actually. I'm sorry I yelled at you, Paul. I was tired.
It's really fun to connect, it's really fun to travel. I really enjoy going places, and the shows, the different town every day, different faces every day, pretty much just getting out there. I love it. I love loading and unloading every day. Like, I hate sleeping in the van, but it's another part that I love because you're forced to do things that you have to be mentally strong enough to be okay with, and like not totally just give up because I didn't sleep in a bed, or I haven't showered in a couple days. Like, you have to be okay with it, and I am okay with it. I'm totally down with not showering for a couple days. I'd say the highest point on tour would be the first time we played Cambridge with Joe Jensen. It was the very first show I've ever played that had like 100+ people in the crowd, sold out. To actually play a show that's sold out and have such a good response, like that was probably like my highest tour point.
After seeing these guys in the past 2 years, they've gone from these little venues to playing like venues that are owned by huge rock stars and touring with crazy bands, and they've gone out with some crazy people. Over the past 2 years, just watching their fans grow from locally to national, like worldwide, their online fan base is crazy. It's not like they're actually true fans. They're always commenting, they're always watching stuff, they're always liking stuff.
Our fans mean the world to us, you know. They're the reason why we're here playing music. Without fans, who are you gonna play music to? We would just be doing this to, you know, pass the time for ourselves. You know, we don't tour the country just because that's something that we do for us. We do it for you guys, and we do it for the fans. So fans are probably one of our priorities in this band. And if I had to sum up This Is Who We Are in one word or one sentence, I would say this is who we are because of our fans. This is who we are. Our fans made us, you know. I don't know really how to explain it, but like, our fans made us who we are, and that's why we are who we are today.
Every fan we meet is different. They got a different story, a different person, and they talk to, and they leave a lasting impression on you. So, and then when you have a bunch of people doing that, it molds you as a person. So it's crazy. The favorite part about being in the band is seeing something that me and Steve started in my garage grow to this. And God only knows we're going to be a year from now, or 5 years, 10 years from now, so when we do another one of these, the coolest part about being in a band is seeing like this idea that you come up with for your band, and then watching yourselves grow over time. It's really, really cool.
We can't really say any words to describe who we are. I mean, that's why, you know, the point of this documentary is actually to get to know us. There's not words. You can't say, this is who they are. They're crazy, or this is who they are. They're nice, or they're sweet, or they're ugly, or they're mean, you know. You just kind of have to watch this documentary, and you'll develop a thought of who we are, and you'll learn, you'll get inside our heads and learn who we are and why we are the way we are. And I think that's why this documentary came about, because we want everybody to know who we are without being able to just say, you know, they're nice or they're cool or anything like that.